Welcome to the Joe Pesci Show. Here he is now, my brother, Joe Pesci.
Hey, everyone! I'm Joe Pesci! Huh? Hey, I got a talk show here, I got a desk, I got a couch, I got a...
This is an NBC News Bulletin.
Good evening to you. I'm Brian Williams, NBC News. We're coming on the air right now to report that the condition of Princess Diana following this evening's car accident in Paris, France, appears to be worse than some of the earlier indications. She was said to be seriously injured, but now there are indications, largely being reported by the BBC in the United Kingdom, that her condition is worse than that. The BBC term is grave condition for Princess Diana tonight in the hospital. Her companion, Dodi El Fayed, killed in the accident you're looking at right now. That was a Mercedes-Benz 600 series sedan in a high-speed metropolitan tunnel in Center City, Paris, France tonight, not far from the Eiffel Tower, not far from the Champs-Élysées. One other person was killed in the car, believed to be the driver, a security person, and Princess Diana survived the accident, were taken to a hospital in Paris, and what we're going to do now is switch to BBC live coverage of the accident, the crash involving the princess.
Again, you would expect both of those to be there. The princess is a distinguished international figure. She may no longer be the future Queen of England, but she is mother to the future King of England, and she is an extremely well-known person. If she's been injured, having been injured in a crash, it's quite logical, simply in protocol terms, for a senior minister to go to her bedside to make sure all is well. It's a matter of diplomatic politeness. Equally, you would expect, it would be very, very surprising indeed if the ambassador, assuming he's in Paris as he is, were he not to go to the hospital too. These are all things you would expect. I understand actually that the head of the Paris police was also there earlier, as well as the consul general. That would be slightly before the ambassador, Sir Michael J, turned up.
And just remind us, as we look again at the images of the very badly twisted car which has now been brought out from the underpass under the Pont d'Alma, it is reported that Princess Diana and Dodi Al Fayed, who we now know was killed in the accident, that they had been dining at the Ritz Hotel owned by his father, Mohammed Al Fayed. How far away is this location from the Ritz?
Not very far. It's not to walk across it in 3 or 4 hours. It's neatly contained by a series of boulevards and by a ring motorway. And although it looks big on a map, actually you can get from almost any point on the river to the boundary in about an hour and an hour's quarter's easy walk.
We've come to the end of our pictures there, Stephen. Just a reminder, if I can, from you, we were trying to piece together with Bénédicte Pavio, looking at those pictures a few minutes ago, that this is actually a 4-lane, 2-directional tunnel. In other words, the traffic goes both ways in 2 lanes on both sides. And we were trying to just work out what kind of speed is officially sanctioned in that kind of area.
Yes, well, I heard Benedict talking about the cameras. As it so happens, I was caught by one of these cameras a couple of months ago. A few weeks later, or a few days later, I got a notification that I'd had 4 points docked from the 12 on my license. So,
but these tunnels in particular?
These tunnels, I would have thought, also had. But I would guess that the maximum.
Brian Williams back with you. We've been watching and listening to live BBC coverage as it's being beamed across the UK tonight. And as often happens in a situation like this, I've just been handed from the Reuters news service what is marked Bulletin. This, we should point out as many times as we can, is being sourced through another news organization. We don't know who they talked to put this on the Reuters news agency wire. It says, Princess Diana has died, Sky Television says. Again, this is quoting the Sky Television news service. We've been listening to BBC. We're going to go back to BBC coverage. This all happened at midnight Paris time. This evening. There's one of the motorcycles believed to have been trailing at a high rate of speed, the Mercedes-Benz carrying Princess
Paris.
Diana. Let's listen to
Thank
BBC.
you very much for joining us as we look there at the images of some of the scooters and motorbikes which might have been involved in tonight's incident being loaded onto police vehicles, and also the details taken by the police. Well, it has been announced in the last few minutes that the British Foreign Secretary Robin Cook, who's been on a four-nation visit to the Far East, has delayed his departure from Manila, the capital of the Philippines. A few minutes ago, he made these remarks.
Well, we understand that the Princess is in hospital. We are deeply shocked by the news, and our first thoughts at the present time are with the Princess and her family. Our ambassador is at the hospital, and obviously we will provide every possible assistance we can. In the meantime, all I would add is that I think it will be doubly tragic if it does emerge that this accident was in part caused by the persistent hounding of the Princess and her privacy by photographers. Thank you very much. Thank you, Florence.
That's the British Foreign Secretary, the Foreign Minister, Robin Cook, on his visit to Manila, announcing that he's delayed his visit. We can now return to Paris, and our correspondent, Stephen Jessel. Stephen, he was mentioning there the British ambassador, Sir Michael Jay, who was posted there last year, having had a very successful career negotiating Britain's position in Europe during the difficult times under the previous Tory administration. What is your view of what is now happening at the hospital?
Well, I'm worried by the lack of any news or the lack of any statement. I mean, we've got this report about the concussion and about the broken arm and about the cuts to her thigh, but I think it is slightly disturbing that we haven't had some sort of official communique giving the status.
We're coming back to NBC News here in the States to report now this Associated Press bulletin. Again, this is not independently confirmed by NBC News. This is, however, running on wire services around the world right now. Princess Diana has died, according to the British news agency Press Association. That is the second news organization to announce that Princess Diana has died tonight. Again, we lack independent confirmation of this. We're going to go back to BBC Live coverage and see if they, in fact, have the same information.
This is not yet confirmed by any official source. So an unconfirmed source from the Press Association is that Diana, Princess of Wales, has died. And as soon as there is any further news, we will bring it to you. Stephen Jessel, our correspondent in Paris, you heard that information from unnamed British sources quoted by the Press Association.
Yes, and I have a terrible feeling that this is true. I don't think the Press Association, which is a reputable body, would have put out this information. I think the fact that Robin Cook postponed his departure from the Philippines was a sign that things are a great deal more serious than we had been led to believe by this rather bland statement. I can't confirm this from Paris at the moment. I may be in a position to do so in the fairly near future, but at the moment, all I can say is that if there were two people in that car who were killed in the crash and one extremely badly injured, it would not be, on the face of it, particularly surprising if the fourth person in the car had also been very badly injured, even to the point of losing her life.
And we should remind our viewers, I think, Stephen, that Diana, Princess of Wales, after the accident in which Dodi Al-Fayed was confirmed as killed by the Paris police, and the driver killed as well, that she was then taken to the Petit-Salpêtrière hospital in the southeast of the capital.
That's right, and we have had no official statement from that hospital. All we have is a news agency report referring to the concussion and the broken arm and the lacerations to the thigh. But if this news from London, the Press Association in London, is true, and there are a number of factors that suggest it is, then clearly that was seriously understating the extent of the Princess's injuries.
And a reminder that the British ambassador, Sir Michael Jay, after the visit by the British consul, he arrived at the hospital within a short time after the accident. And we can just repeat the detail of what you're now seeing on our caption at the bottom of the screen there, that within the last few moments, the Press Association, citing unnamed British sources, has reported that Diana, Princess of Wales, has died. This is not yet confirmed by an official source, so just to repeat, an unconfirmed bit of news that the Press Association is saying in Britain that Diana, Princess of Wales, has died following the accident just before midnight in this underpass tunnel in central Paris at the Pont d'Alma. That car which is being towed away and which we are seeing on the screen at the moment, badly damaged, is the car in which we believe Diana at the time of the incident. French police have confirmed that Dodi Al-Fayed was killed in the accident and that a driver of the car was also killed. And the French news agency has just quoted France's Interior Minister as confirming the suggestion from the Press Association that Diana, Princess of Wales, has died. I must stress there is no confirmation of her condition yet from any official British source. That word has come from Jean-Pierre Chevènement, the Interior Minister of France, who travelled to the Pitié-Salpêtrière hospital in Paris within an hour of the accident on the
Brian Williams back with you. Just to remind you, we've been watching live BBC coverage, which a lot of Europe and certainly much of the UK, whoever is awake at this very early hour, 11:53 Eastern time here in this country. Nick Gowing has been the BBC. They are announcing that through several sources have made independent announcements that indeed Princess Diana has died tonight. The latest Associated Press bulletin is one eerie line. It just says simply, reading off the live wire copy here, she was 36. Another bulletin here, Paris, Princess Diana dead, French minister. That is all it says. Another bulletin just came across. The report from Press Association came about 5 hours after the crash. The usually, as they pointed out on BBC, the usually conservative Press Association of Britain is not known to be especially given to hyperbole. We're going to go back to the BBC live coverage of what could be a monumental unfolding
Dodi Al-Fayed
tragedy.
was killed, the chauffeur was killed, the bodyguard was seriously injured, as was Princess Diana. They were taken to hospital, Princess Diana and the bodyguard, and we now have these unconfirmed reports that the princess has died. Originally we were told that she had suffered concussion and a broken arm and serious injuries to her thigh. That does seem to have been understated, as our correspondent Stephen Jessel in Paris was just saying there. We're seeing pictures now of the car as it was removed from the scene. Incredible damage there. As you can see, the car is completely crushed. Witnesses after the accident reported hearing a loud bang, smoke coming from the car, and the airbags had inflated. The police have detained 5 photographers and, as far as we know, taken away 2 motorcycles for investigation. That's what we know of that from the moment. Prince Charles was informed by telephone. He is in Scotland. He was informed of the accident shortly after it happened. He's on holiday with Princes Harry and William. The Prime Minister, Tony Blair, was awakened and told. He described it as a devastating tragedy. And we've had reports from around the world of reaction of world leaders saying it at the time before this report that the princess has died, saying what an appalling tragedy it was. There we can see the pictures and the crowds of people gathered. It happened in a very public place, going into the tunnels. Apparently it was a high-speed crash. It seems the car struck the wall of the tunnel, may have spun around several times, seems to have been pointing in the opposite direction. And of course these reports that they had been chased by the paparazzi, the press photographers travelling on motorcycles. Mohammed Al Fayed, the father of Dodi Al Fayed. Mohammed Al Fayed is the owner of Harrods in London. He is travelling to Paris in his private helicopter.
Maxine, at the international desk, for the moment, thank you very much indeed for those latest details. Just to underline, the latest information we have is that the Press Association, the British Press Association, citing unnamed British sources, has reported that Diana, Princess of Wales, has died. And the French Interior Minister, Jean-Pierre Chevènement, in Paris, who visited the hospital following the motor accident in the centre of Paris, has also indicated that this is the news. I am now joined on the line by the royal correspondent of the Mirror newspaper here in Britain, James Whittaker, who has been with us one way or the other for the last 3 or 4 hours. James, this was the news that, assuming it is confirmed by Buckingham Palace, that many will have dreaded.
Absolutely. It is just awful. The words are no good on it. It is such a tragic waste of something. I feel desperately for William and Harry. Obviously, despite the divorce, they were so close to their mother. Anybody decent and caring will just be utterly choked, as I am, at what has happened. It's almost too much to take in. I feel this girl is a major part of my life. I've known her since she was 16. I'm just writing a story for my paper, The Mirror, now. I recall her when she was just 16 for the first time, seeing her. And I have seen her every moment since. I've recorded every part of her life, and it is incomprehensible. This will turn her into a saint, of course. It's just so tragic. It is a Greek tragedy times 3. You could not believe that anything like this could happen. It is too awful to contemplate.
James, obviously a very difficult moment for you personally, because not so long ago, just a few weeks ago, she came across to you and spoke to you. But can you help piece together now where the rest of her family is? Because we do understand that her former husband